Hey YouTubers, X Factor here, some Karkand Conquest large size defense. We've already lost F, and I can't tell you, no matter what you're doing, if you see this flashing, or if you've already lost it, spawn G and try to get it back. The last thing you want is the assaulting horde to take G from you, and then you lose your 2 sets of armor. That gives them 4, and that's really hard to come back in this map, no matter how many engineers you have, because there's just so much cover and buildings people can duck behind. With that being said, hats off to my LAV driver. He held some pretty good lanes, and he responded to where he needed to go. He never put his neck out too far and played super smart. So he made this a lot less chaotic than it probably could have been. I'm currently watching Wire, and this is super important because they already got through to F, and I'm saying to myself, hey, let's not let that happen again. And you're going to see all the traffic that's at Hotel, that's this entire area over here, and then to the left of me is Wire. We literally named this behind me. Wire 1 is the building, Wire 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, shooting down that whole row. This lane is extremely important to hold. I cannot emphasize that enough. Now about the weapon of choice. We're rocking out the L85 4-grip heavy barrel with the red dot, and this is arguably one of the weaker guns in the entire assault class that you can choose from. It's got the same deviation while ADS and holding still as an M16, but it shoots super slow and has a weird left horizontal recoil, so it bounces around quite a bit more left to right. It's not as consistent as the M16 with the top up right recoil pattern. So what happens a lot of times is you stop shooting when you think you'd have them dead with a SCAR L, G3, A3, M16, M416. I do that quite a bit in this, and that guy should have been dead. Now, was it because I was suppressed? I don't know, but as you can see, the traffic for this Wire 2, Wire 3 building is insane. That's why it's always important to babysit this with at least 2 guys, no matter what you play, console or PC, 12v12, 16v16, or like I'm playing right now, 32v32, Zerg style. And as you can see, they just keep coming. Another thing that you had to account for is a slower muzzle velocity than a lot of the assault guns in the game. It only shoots a velocity of 600. That's not a lot. Not to mention the rate of fire is pretty slow at 650. Some of the guns that you would use are much higher or do a lot more damage. This hits for 25, 18.4 minimum, just like a lot of the assault guns in the game. But the time to kill is so slow compared to the majority of the guns. So what would I recommend on this if you want some long-range damage? SCAR L's always a player. G3A3, always a player. AN94, if you know how to burst fire and you've got that down, that would just be disgusting on this map. And that's your long-range power. Now, what about that mid-range? M16, M416. How about the close-range destruction? AEK all day, every day. So if you're making a push from a BC or you're in that close infantry-centric couple of flags on this map, go with that. You won't be disappointed. As you see me kind of juking and jiving for my own life here. They're moving to the upper side, and this is not a shot that I can make with this gun, especially while suppressed. So best that I kind of curl up and not let people through my lane, because at the end of the day, I've kind of prioritized this to mitigate some of the potential damage that we could have on our F, E, and G flags. Now again, it's not a big deal if it's just flashing, but if somebody responds, you're okay. But if no one responds and it keeps flashing and flashing and flashing, this can go downhill fast. Karkand is one of those maps where you might have a chokehold, but all of a sudden D flashes, and then it's a downward spiral from there. If there's one flag I'd give them if I had a choice, it would definitely be D. It takes forever to get there, and it's a heck of a push to get from D to any other flag. C is also super easy to defend. So if they're naturally pushing from D to C, guess what? You spawn on the outside of C in the buildings and on the buildings, and you can see literally 95% of the burn. The spots you can't see, you simply have to chuck a grenade, and then you see some of the weakness of that kit from long range. Not the best, not the most accurate, and again, it's due to that fact that it has that horizontal wiggle that's kind of all over the place. And just like that, C is burning, might as well turn around, because you can literally see 80% of the burn area from this spot or a multitude of these buildings. I can hear voices, I can see stuff on the mini-map, so might as well chuck a grenade and get ready for a visitor up the stairs, because I've been here for a couple seconds, but this is such such a nice position to hold the onslaught from B to C. I've abandoned my position at wire simply because C got in a lot of trouble. Now, the whole point of Conquest is to hold more flags than the bad guys. If you have the majority of flags or one more than they do, you're going to have the burn. You're eating away their tickets. So at the end of the day, it's more important to hold 4 flags here at a minimum. As long as you've got that, you're going to be rocking the bleed on those guys, and they have to be thinking about getting another flag. And that's why these little positions really help out, because you're weeding those guys who are PTFOing out. There are a percentage of members on the other team who it's their consistent thought process to get more flags and defend what they have. And there's only so many of them. So if you get a nice defensive position like that and you're in a close infantry flag, you can do a lot of damage quickly, and it might alter their push. Just like that, C is flashing. They are pushing from multiple angles, and I'm in a lot of trouble from that hotel. I actually die. And that's common. Teams camp the shit out of hotel. It is not very effective for your team, but it sure as hell is annoying, especially if you're trying to defend the B flag from that left side or going to push A down the middle. And there you see a little bit of the hip fire kind of working towards my advantage, but that slow rate of fire almost got me killed, even though the aim was looking okay. Map is getting crazy at this point. C was just blinking. Now E's blinking. F was just blinking a second ago. And the Rex. I am falling in love with this weapon. I've started to use the Magnum at medium and longer range maps, but the Rex for closer range maps. You can't beat the super fast reload, the fast follow-up shots, and the highly manageable recoil. The only knock is the irons. And that's why I picked the Magnum on some of these longer range maps, because those irons are just so sexy, and for me it's more accurate at this point until I get a little bit more used to it. C's flashing, take a peek, and again you can see it from this angle. You can see pretty much all of it except for the back right and back left burn point. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this round of Karkand and my thought process, and pick up any other gun such as the Scar L, AN94, or G3A3 if you're looking for that long range stopping power. If you learned something, had a little fun, don't forget about the old thumbs up, and we'll see you soon, YouTubers.